Alright, recording new. Hitting stop on the music so it can start over. Please don't crash. I don't even know if this is being picked up. Whenever I come into the game, I just see a white screen. Oh, okay, there we go. That was scary. Alright, so continuing this, let's burn this stuff because I remembered it was here. And I do see all those smalls. I hate smalls. Because there is just no efficient way to deal with them. There really is. And I get how that is intentional, but at the same time, I feel like it should be slid under for a moment there. It's also one of those, apply real life, you would have some way to deal with them in real life. Hey, I got pedestrian. And that is track over 20,000 footprints. And even just a dust bin with the boom is an adaptation to help deal with smalls in real life, and yet cannot have that in this video game. Hence why sequel, please, sequel. It's also just such. I was talking in the last part about how some games just work for me in like sandbox games, so I didn't specifically mention that, but like Satisfactory is really good in that respect for me. No Man's Sky that I got recently is another game that it hits the just one more turn for me very nicely, and how it just lets you go around and then do some stuff. Satisfactory is so much better in regards to building, but not so much for exploring like No Man's Sky. But it's I forgot to start the timer. There it goes. But this is, it's a chill game. It's a nice, kind of mindless. It's not really mindless. You do have to think about how you want to approach things. But it's not like you need any weird, convoluted strategy to achieve things, which is the case in some games. Like, here's a task, do it. It's that kind of mindless. The task, doing the task can involve mental activity, but you do it. I hope that makes sense. What the point I'm trying to get there. Come on. But the larger point I was trying to make, I'd forgotten. I guess it was along the lines of, this is a game that, sequel to it could do well because of the whole. That's just blood there. This is going to be so much a nightmare to try cleaning up. See, I don't even want to guess how many bugs I'm going to need because of how layered that is. But yeah, just applying real life to this game could be interesting. Like having a backpack so that you could pick this stuff up. Well, actually, that could work for the smalls, where you can pick up the smalls, it goes in a backpack, and then the backpack will be empty, can be emptied when you go to the incinerator. it being science fiction as well, you could set up a conveyor belt system, or let's say a gravity belt system, where you could, sort of like the, what were they called? The vortexes in Portal 2. Where you could just have things lifted up or moved toward or moved away from them. Actually, did they swap like that, or was it just... was it constant you need to mess with it, or... I don't quite remember now, but setting something up like that... It's like there's still so much potential for a game. And hey, you can make it VR. I mean, that would be interesting to a degree, but with the amount of movement that would be called for, there would be too few people, I think, to make that really worth it. Because you would need a large space to play in. I don't think you could do it sitting, or you'd run the risk of it sitting. Motion sickness. I'm trying to remember, what game was it? There was a VR game that I played that actually was giving me a little bit of motion sickness. And it's like, I don't get motion sickness. I've never really had that in my life. I mean, some people, they need to sit in a certain part of a car, or they can't drive at all, things like that. Nope, never, but it was something that until I got used to it, it just would make me a little queasy. But like, this, what I'm doing right here, I think would, if I were in a VR system, would make me sick. Ah, there was one more over there. Okay. But one thing though that would be funny, especially with the index and valve, is the finger tracking. Is that you could then have it where when you pick something up like that, it makes some squishing noises. That could be funny. That could be quite funny. And especially if it changed with as you move your fingers in it. I mean, yeah. I wish I had more room. I would like to do more stuff in VR. Although one thing I can mention, because Metro Exodus, I couldn't play that on the desktop and do the recording captures. So, I played on the test system and captured it with the capture card I got a while ago in the desktop. Which was kind of nice to do, in part because it just proved that I could. Because I'd never really messed with it much. It's like, I have the NES Classic, I have the SNES Classic. The SNES I got because I had an SNES in some of those games, and I not really played it. But still one of those, I wanted to have it in my collection, so I could. I just need to find the time to, basically. But it's also like some of those, yeah, I'd like to try doing recordings in. So it was nice to basically prove that yes, I can. Although I didn't. Those would technically be easier to do than Metro Exodus, because with that, I used a keyboard and mouse, which meant, and I had to be facing the television instead of the computer monitor, and complicated. Whereas for those classic consoles, because that's all via a controller, I'd probably you just use the projection system in OBS to make it larger, to just play on the monitor. To fill the screen there and just play it that way, so because that make it a lot easier. You know, Yeah, I'll leave that. No. Those are basically just smalls, and I don't feel like messing with them at the moment. I will need to, but just not right now. And you know, actually, because they are smalls, what I could do is just bring up a bunch of buckets, and then, as those get soiled, use them to hold it. Although I did see that there is the biohazard bucket there that I could use. I'm trying to remember. Just what is the time? Because I know the next game I want to do the just gaze tracking in it. I already have it installed. I just haven't done anything. Yeah, I don't like talking about whatever the next video is I want to do in these, because things can change. Like, yeah, like with Metro Exodus, I wanted to go from Alan Wake to doing Alan Wake's American Nightmare, but haven't done that yet. I let Metro Exodus take the spot in between. And you know, nothing wrong with that, but that is part of the reason why. Because, you know, something may come up, something may change. And depending, it just occurred to me, I might not even do Alan Wake after this. Sorry, I'm just... I had to wipe my nose, son. Alright, because if I do decide to get myself Doom Eternal when it releases, I'll try to do recordings in that, because I'll be reviewing it, and oh, that reminds me of one thing kind of funny. Sorry. I'm just looking for, yeah, I think I'm good to go down with this stuff. Okay, so that is for the door. But yeah, so if I get Doom Eternal, I would try to do a recordings, both a review playthrough, but also simultaneously record the heart rate and the gaze if I can. I should be able to. Yes, it will be using Vulkan, but I mean, it worked for Doom. And I don't remember, did I do that full screen capture, or was I able to do window capture? Window worked for something else when I was doing it in Vulkan. I also still need to decide. Every now and then it does cross my mind that, you know, I could do, because I did Wolfenstein New Order and Old Blood, I could do the new Colossus, because, you know, yes, I don't like the game, but you know, it's not a horrible game, but then it's like, well, yeah, there is one scene in it at the end that is like no. I don't understand why that exists, why that scene even existed in the game, and I'd really not, I mean, it's like, it would be a straight up, yeah, I'd want to censor that, but I don't want to go in and mess with videos that much. I don't do that much editing. I don't really mind talking about it. The game is old enough at this point, I don't think that there's any real spoiler to it. Plus, you know, I already put out the New Order videos, and basically what I'm talking about was kind of set up there. So, New Colossus is set shortly after the events of New Order, and one of the things about it that you discover is that Anna is pregnant. Very pregnant in New Colossus, and for whatever reason, the developers decided at the end that because she's with you on the final mission, which is fine, whatever. A little dangerous, but, you know, you want to tell her no? You get knocked down, so she steps up to rescue you, but it's... For some reason they decided that fire should fall on her jacket. So while she takes it off, so it's now topless, completely bare-chested, literally dripping in blood and firing the assault rifles, one in each hand. And it's like, I don't. What is this? Why do you have this? This is so unnecessary. I mean, it's just grotesque to me. It's disgusting. That's like, we don't need her topless. We don't need her topless and dripping in blood. I don't really care about the gun so much, but it's like, this is so inappropriate, it feels to me. It's like, I don't want to have that in the video. It just feels so unnecessary, especially when you also consider that this was something that not only did somebody decide to put in, but then enough people said, or enough people that can make the decision said that, no, it can stay. It's like, what? It never made sense to me. How are you not burned? Anyway, but yeah, it's like, I don't want that in a video of mine. And it also doesn't make sense, because it's like, oh, her jacket's on fire. It's like, okay, you can clearly see she's wearing multiple layers of clothes. That jacket is just the outer layer. Why did she have to take it all off, which arguably would take more time than just taking the jacket off? Because, like, one of the layers was a sweater. So but the jacket, you know, it's like a zippered or button jacket, so it's like, sleeves off, it's off. It's like, it really made no sense why it was there. But yeah, for that one scene, because I don't do video editing, I do much simpler processing, I don't want to do that game. Plus, it's also, I don't care much for that. Yeah, if I were to play that game with a commentary and a recording, you would be hearing me complain about how, okay, but why? Why do I care about this? Who are these people? Why should I care about these people? Why should I help these people? What is this? I mean, if I had done a review playthrough for that, it would have been funny to see what some of the comments would... Because one of well, that burned up quick. One of the criticisms I have for it is part of the premise to that game is you are, and I'm sure I've gone through this in a previous video, by the way, you're trying to rescue America kind of thing, you know, at least awaken it so that they will start fighting against the Nazi. Okay, that's fine. The problem is you basically never encounter any Americans that aren't already fighting. It's like, so the people you're fighting for, you're killing for, you're potentially dying for, you never meet. You never really meet. It doesn't make sense to me. Why am I invested in this? I mean, I get the whole, oh, they're Nazis, they're bad, you need to stop them. It's like, yeah, okay, but there is more to this. And it just, nope, never touched on. The one time you encounter real people that aren't supporting the Nazis or actively fighting them, it is a mother and child. And the mother is obviously upset and bothered by the Nazis. But is afraid of them, and that's it though. It's also one thing that was weird to me, because it's like, this is set in the 60s or 70s. The mother looked fairly young. Like, she would have basically grown up in this Nazi-controlled America, this Nazi-occupied America. So why is she so unnerved by them? It's like, what is this story here? I want this story. I want to know about this person that was raised in Nazi-occupied America, who is still annoyed, who still fears them, is afraid of them, recognizes that they are not something good. I want that story. The person that's afraid, that wants it to be different, but hasn't done anything about it, for one reason or another. Fear is one good reason, could also be she doesn't think she could achieve it. She could achieve any difference. That's fine. Oh, I didn't realize I paused. No, I guess that does make sense. So I muted the mic briefly. And I guess part of that key combination that I use also pauses the game. Anyway, but it's like, that's the kind of story that I want. Like, if we assume it's her parents, I would want to meet her parents. I would want to find out how they raised her, that this would be the case. Hell, I'd like to know about the husband, the father of that child. Does he feel the same way? Is he maybe actually not? Is it like, she loves him, but he is somewhat allowing of the Nazis? I'm saying that, I wanted the human stories there, and it's just not. It's just absent. It's like, but the human story is what would, give me the motivation for the game, for all the stuff that's going on. But it was absent. Plus, and I know I complained about this while playing New Order, it's like, you get a freaking laser rifle. It is an amazing weapon in New Order. And it's just this high-tech, high sci-fi kind of thing. It's awesome. And then, what do you get in New Colossus? Diesel. And that's the amazing thing, is Diesel. Diesel is kind of cool, yeah. But at the same time, it's not high sci-fi. It's not high-tech. There's so many things. This performance is so lousy because... But yeah, so... but I am looking forward to Doom Eternal, which is id Tech instead of Machine Games. Machine Games is who's doing the Wolfenstein, the new Wolfenstein. Similar engine. It has been making improvements to them. Like, one thing I saw recently, and remember, this is in February, this is prior to release, even though the video is coming out after that game released, that apparently they have that engine configured such that with the right hardware, it could hit 1,000 FPS. Which you need a couple things there to understand. One is, that means you are literally rendering every frame in 1 millisecond. Okay? That's insane. That is very, very insane. But it's also, that is... You're not hitting that today. That takes a lot to manage. And I said that because I was trying to remember, what the hell am I trying to get to? And then I remembered, there are upper limits to engine performance. Some of that could be there's just like a minimal amount of work that has to be done, so there's always going to be a minimum frame time, so you can't go past that. And others where you go past this and things just break. I think that was found with the GTA 5 engine that passed 140? I think it is FPS, it breaks. Yeah, that was discovered when the first generation Ryzen CPUs came out, because people were saying that it's a smoother experience than on Intel. It was like, but why? Because the Intel chips were running it faster. It's like, 150, 160 FPS on the i7-7700K, but on the Ryzen 7 1800X, or 1700X, what was lower. It was like 120, but it felt better. Well, they eventually figured out that, if you go past 140, the engine doesn't like it. But yeah, being able to hit 1,000 FPS for an engine, that is actually quite impressive. I'm just trying to think, what would be a way to make an analogy with like an actual car engine? I guess that would kind of work. It would be like a car engine reaching a certain speed could be very difficult, because in order for it to reach that RPM, you are getting so much friction between the piston and the cylinders. You're getting so much friction between the gears and the transmission because of how fast something has to be going. Within the engine might be the pistons, the cylinders. Within the transmission might be like the gears that are converting the RPM of the engine to the RPM for the wheels. That there would be so much friction that the things would just start like melting, that they'd fail from heat. So you'd need to use like special materials or use special oils and special oil in it, something like that. That's the best analogy I can think of, where it's like, no, there are physical limitations to the speed of a car engine that, true, depending, might be very, very high. But it's like the physical materials would fail before you could reach that speed. Well, that kind of is also true for game engines, that there would be limits, that there are certain things that you just would not be able to go to because they would fail. And that could be, as I said before, there's certain things that they take so much time to do, doesn't matter how well you code it, it's never going to be faster than this. So, an engine capable of 1,000 FPS, that's really impressive. Plus, I'm looking forward, because going back to the new Colossus, I know I didn't care much with the game, but graphically, that was a beautiful game. It's like its particle effects were very, very detailed and such. It's like, this is really cool. And it ran so nicely. It's like, I could only have praise for it in that section of the review, the graphics section. It's just story, nah. Gameplay, nah. The gameplay was mainly because the New Order did so much of this stuff better. It'll be interesting to see, because like what would be really neat and work out nicely for me, but I have no idea if it will, is would be something like if AMD puts out a new graphics card and has that bundled with it. That would be perfect for me, because I do want to upgrade from the 580. Specifically for review purposes. It wouldn't help here. The low performance here, this isn't a GPU thing. Well, it might be, but in a way that wouldn't help. Epic, the makers of Unreal Engine, they've had a long-standing positive relationship with NVIDIA, as in one of the people in charge of it and certain decisions being made for Unreal Engine has a long-standing preference for and bias towards NVIDIA. So you will fairly often see comparable performing NVIDIA and AMD cards where the NVIDIA card will run better in an Unreal Engine game just because it's NVIDIA and not because it is actually a superior card. Rather annoying, but here's what it is. Though it does seem like with UE4 some changes have been made that will affect that. like having better support for Vulkan, which the AMD GPUs... I don't remember how well Turing is doing with Vulkan. It's definitely doing better than Pascal, but basically comparable performance like 1080 Vega 64 GPUs. In Vulkan, you could expect AMD to run better. It's also possible that NVIDIA made some improvements with drivers to help with that. I don't completely remember. Oh man, it's also funny. Recently, there's a rumor about the performance of, because supposedly a benchmark for a new NVIDIA GPU showed up. It's like showing it be so much better performing, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's also showing like 7,000 CUDA cores in there, shader cores in there. It's like, yeah, that's a big sucker. I said sucker. It is very weird that how NVIDIA seems very comfortable with going to these massive dies because they're just intrinsically more expensive. Because, I mean, true, you can't compare CPUs and GPUs. There are so many differences between them. But it still is AMD has proven with the Ryzen CPUs that going to smaller dies and figuring out a way to connect them that way is very advantageous economically. And now, true, as I said, GPUs are different. You can't do multi-chip modules as easily there. But it still is NVIDIA being so willing to go to the massive size is interesting. But we also still need to see what AMD's going to do with RDNA 2 GPUs, the next generation. Will those be big? Will they not be? It's hard to say. Alright, looks like I just about have this stuff done, so I'll be able to start collecting buckets. You know, I might actually work on this before heading up. Because, I mean, it is going to perform so much. It's also getting hard to spot what isn't gore. Because, where is, like right there, just the way that stands out, it makes it look like it's gore, and it's not. This. Oh yeah, I also get that. Should also take care of that. Am I good over here now? Oh no, there's still this stuff. I want to burn everything I can before I pull out the mop. For this section, I know there's still stuff to burn over there, I think. But I'm not worrying about it for now. Oh, also that guy there. That was just an internal sigh looking at that. Like, do I want to grab that? One thing kind of funny, recently, I had to explain to my mother something about YouTube ad revenue. that she didn't realize that this is how it works. That, because she apparently thought that, no, Google takes a cut of your ad revenue. It's like, no. Never. I've never gotten any ad revenue from Google, but I'm pretty sure, well, from YouTube, I'm pretty sure how it actually works is Google gets all the ad revenue, and then you get a cut from them. Because, like, there will be ads on this video. I get none of that, because I don't deserve, according to YouTube, the opportunity for ad revenue. Which is one thing that it's been a long time, but I sent some things, because they kept changing what the requirements are to be a partner. And, like, one thing I suggested, and it's like, oh yeah, I would not be surprised if that email was never even read. Because why would Google actually pay attention to anyone's opinion but their own? But that I think that's something that should weigh in your favor in the consideration of should somebody become a partner is setting and keeping to a schedule. I think that is something that I'm kind of proud of, that I have for years now kept to the Monday-Thursday schedule, and I've never missed a day. I've never missed a day since I started this. I'm just looking. No, I don't think that's a political update. And then, since adding the Tuesday with the gaze tracker only, again, I've never missed a day. I think that should be weighed when considering, is somebody deserving of being a partner enough to, get ad revenue. Now, I do this, at this point, I definitely am doing this just for fun. I fully acknowledge I'm never going to make money off of any of it. Short of, like, trying to get a grant for it. And I'm okay with that. See, I do this for fun. I'd like to be able to have some kind of income in general. If this was a source, fine. If not, fine. But it's just, I would like to believe there are plenty of small YouTube channels that it's like they keep a schedule because they want to do this. But they're small. They don't get attention. They don't get much. They wouldn't be generating much ad revenue to begin with, but I feel like, they've proven that they are committed to this. This isn't just a channel that, oh yeah, I felt like, doing something, so here's a week of videos and then nothing because I gave up. I'm just guessing with the blood. I need to throw this out. But yeah, I feel that should be recognized. Probably won't be, ever. In part because that would actually take some human... Well, no, you could automate it. To see if... wow, that did not take... to see if somebody has a schedule. You could probably automate that. Look for patterns in their releases. It's right here, so yeah. But yeah, I do believe though that is something that should be taken into account. That makes sense to me. And it's not just because that way I may have a chance, but it makes sense to. It's like, because you could have a channel that doesn't, like, it puts something up once in a blue moon, but when it does, it gets a lot of attention. And because of that attention, it could be it qualifies and gets ad revenue. But then you've got other channels where it's like, no, every week, let's say once a week, they put out a video. It's like, that's, might not get as many views, but the fact that they keep to that for years, that should be respected. Just start doing this side. What the hell? Wow, I guess I was very lucky, because somehow I walked over a bucket I didn't realize I was standing that near to, instead of just tipping. That gore. I'll get that stuff later. Oh, I only have about 2 minutes left. I guess I'll be setting these up and then stopping. Then get to mopping. Achievement unlocked, need a hand. Kinda curious about what that is. Receive a total of 35 helping hands from the Slosh-O-Matic. They're not helping. I think I'll do just two goes here. Son of a bitch, there are bullet holes. I hate those. Alright, will this work? Hey, it did. Okay. And I know I'm gonna have footprints now. I hate bullet holes though, because they can be hard to see and they're just such a pain. Leave it. Okay, it is in the hall of the mountain. That's why it's so hard to hear. It's so quiet. It would be interesting if Bolero were in the library. It is also referred to as the longest crescendo in music, because it's like 10 minutes long, and it actually is a nice piece, but it is constantly just building the entire time. It's definitely interesting, because I have a copy of it that, you know, I wouldn't be able to use in this, I use the loudness normalization filter in FFmpeg on. It is so weird to see Bolero, just the waveform of it, where it's been flattened, basically. Where the loudness has been equalized across the entire thing. Okay. I already stopped the time, because I figured I would take care of this. Okay. There. Alright, save. And yeah, get this stopped and start the next one. See you next time.